Hello my viewers and welcome to my channel. This is Focus Africa and today I want to talk about colonization in Africa. Kindly subscribe and press to the notification bell so that whenever we upload our next video, you will be the first one to know. Well, colonization involved the seizure and control of vast territory by European powers. Colonialism is basically a policy or a practice of acquiring full or partial political control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. Some forms of colonization existed in Africa during antiquity, with ancient Greeks and Romans establishing colonies in North Africa. These early colonies were not as extensive or pervasive as the later European colonization. In the late 19th century, European powers, including British, France, Germany, Belgium, and Portugal, rapidly expanded their influence and control over the African continent. This division of Africa among European powers was formalized in a Berlin conference in the year 1884, setting the stage for colonization period. Local customary practices and communal autonomy were often disrupted by European rule, leading to the transformation of African societies. Colonies were primarily maintained for economic exploitation, with resources extracted and sent to Europe. Some colonizers like British used a system of indirect rule, working with existing local authorities while maintaining ultimate control. Mid-20th century, the European powers started facing economic difficulties and mounting pressure from nationalist movements leading to decolonization. African nationalists inspired by anti-colonial movements in Asia and other parts of the world fought for independence. The colonization process varied across the continent, with some territories gaining independence peacefully and others experiencing violent conflicts. Colonialism continues to affect many African countries, including issues of political instability, economic development, and inequality. The impact of colonial rule is evident in the languages, cultural practices, and social structures of many African countries. Colonialism on African altered its history forever. African modes of thoughts, patterns of cultural development, and way of life were forever impacted by the change in political structure brought about by colonialism. African economy was significantly changed by the Atlantic slave trade through the process of imperialism and the economic policies that were accompanied by colonialism. Prior to the scramble for Africa by the major European nations, African economies were advancing in every area, particularly in trade. The, the aim of colonialism is to exploit the physical, human, and economic resources of an area to benefit the colonizing nation. European powers pursued this goal by encouraging the development of a commodity-based trading system a cash crop agricultural system, and by building a trade network linking the total economic output of a region to the demands of the colonizing state. The development of colonialism and the partition of Africa by the colonial powers arrested the natural development of the African economic system. Prior to colonialism, Africa was not economically isolated from the rest of the world. African states had engaged in international trade from the pharaohs of the ancient Egypt, and West Africa had developed extensive international trade system during eras of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. These huge empires rallied heavily on taxing of foreign trade to finance government expenditures and fees associated with administrative office. And now, what is neo-colonialism? Neo-colonialism refers to the continued control of developing countries by more powerful developed nations through indirect means after the formal end of direct colonial rule. The control is often exercised through economic, political, and cultural influence rather than direct military occupation. Neocolonialism operates through various mechanisms that maintain a relationship of dependence between the former colonies and their former colonizers or other more powerful nations. It can include unfair trade practices, debt burden, and the extraction of resources. Adoption of Western cultures and values can lead to a dependence on foreign goods and ideas. Development aid may be tied to specific political or economic policies, further entrenching the power of the donor nation. Neocolonialism is persistent form of dominance that maintains the inequalities and power imbalances of the colonial era, even after the formal end of colonialism. I will end it here until the next episode. Kindly subscribe and press to the notification bell so that you don't miss out on the next episode where I'll be giving more insights on this.